Hello and happy Sunday. This is Kelly with IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, and today is Sunday, April the 13th. You can see that we are having a very informal chat tonight, kind of like we used to have sometimes when John and I lived at the loft, and we would have this little like one-on-one chat upstairs and in our lofted area. And I know some of you all remember that. Not everybody, but some of you all do. But hello and happy Sunday, everybody. I am Kelly with IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. We are going to be spending the first few minutes talking about the Weight Watchers topic from last week, but we are going to spend the entire rest of this chat talking about the news from the Associated Press, from Wall Street Journal, from USA Today, from several credible sources about the news about Weight Watchers potentially filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. If you had not heard that news yet, do not panic. Do not panic. If you all have learned nothing else from me over the years, over the however many years we've been doing this, it is to do not panic. Okay, so don't panic. So hello and happy Sunday, everybody. We're going to do a brief overview of last week's topic from Weight Watchers, and then we're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes and everything else. Of course, those are 0-point meat and potatoes. Just keep that in mind. But this is chat number 410. And what an appropriate week for us to be talking about saying yes to de-stressing. So this week has been, since Wednesday of this week, has been a little bit stressful for some of you all. It's okay. It is okay. We're going to talk about it here in a few minutes. But yeah, we're here. We're here and we're going to talk about it. So hopefully you all are going to start saying hello here in just a second. I haven't even seen the first comment of hello. So maybe I've scared you off by saying that we're going to talk about Weight Watchers, and well, it wasn't even really Weight Watchers announcement. So hopefully you all have not bailed out on me. Hopefully you all are going to start saying hi here pretty soon. But today is Sunday, April the 13th. If you are not joining us here live, if you're joining us later on YouTube, that's just youtube.com, search If You Have an Egg. Remember that these video chats, so our little chats together on Sunday nights, I used to be able to say that we wanted to let them to go on forever, and Facebook has limited them to 90 days now. So if you want to go back and watch any of our chats that are older than 90 days old, you will need to go to YouTube. Again, that's just youtube.com, search If You Have an Egg. And I am shocked. We have no one is here yet. No one is commenting yet. So y'all go ahead and start your hellos. Finally, Mary from Pittsburgh. Hello, Mary from Pittsburgh. Hello, Sherry from Cape Coral, Florida. I don't know, maybe Facebook just wanted to see what I was getting ready to say before it would let you all start commenting. Hello, Katie. Katie's good to see you. Hello, Rosie. Hello, Sandra from Naperville. If you all are just jumping in, this is chat number 410. We are talking about saying yes to de-stressing. So we're talking about de-stressing, and it's a perfect week to talk about that. We are going to be sitting here in this little personal, kind of a little personal chat, just me and you and I. Yeah, we're just going to be chatting about this. It is chat number 410. Today is Sunday, April the 13th. We are going to cut the first part of this a little bit short. It's just me tonight. It's just me. Carol even wanted to know if Alyssa was going to be here because she is with her Peanut. So hello, Peanut. It is good to see you wherever you are. Hope you're having fun with, what does she call you, Carol? Does she call you Nana, Nona, Grandma, Granny? But hello to Peanut. So the first part of this chat will not be the full 30 minutes. We're just going to briefly go over what the Weight Watchers subject was for this last week. Then we're going to jump right into what everyone's big question is. And again, if you didn't already know, just hang in there, because you're thinking, wait, what? What news? What is there, big news? Just breathe. It's okay. It's okay. Just breathe. So this week over in the If You Have an Egg Facebook group, we are going to be focusing on stay the course. So even though we're talking about de-stressing for a little bit at the beginning of tonight's chat, Julie is going to be talking about staying the course. And that's what we need to do. So by the end of tonight's chat, hopefully I will have answered some questions. Let me know if you have any other questions. And if I can answer them, I will. If I can find out, I will. And if I can find any more information, I will certainly get that to you. But Julie wants to remind us over in the If You Have an Egg Facebook group to just stay the course. Okay. I said this on the I popped in earlier this week. I think it was on Wednesday. I popped in and I said, hey, this would be like leaving a football game if the coach decided to change a quarterback at halftime. You wouldn't do that. So you wouldn't just say, oh, no, kids, come on, we got to go. Coach is changing the quarterback here at halftime. We're just going to get in the car and we're going to head on home. So that's the point. That's Julie's point of staying the course. Just stay the course, okay? And hopefully you'll feel a little bit better about staying the course by the end of tonight's chat. Okay, so as you have questions, I have a trusty writing utensil, although now I see that I'm not sure how much ink it has in it, but I do have a trusty writing utensil, and I can go back and look at your comments later just to see if you have any questions that I didn't answer. And again, if I don't know the answer to your question, or if I am not able to answer it tonight, I will try to get that information from you and answer it for you over the next couple of days. So again, over in the If You Have an Egg Facebook group, the topic for this week, the focus for this week is staying the course. We do have a public service egg announcement for the week. Next Sunday, so a week from tonight, is Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday, we will not be having a chat on Easter Sunday. I need you all to hide eggs. I need you all to, responsibly eat the ears off of bunnies. Don't break into the Cadburys, okay? Just because chicken eggs might still be expensive in your area, that doesn't mean that you should switch to Cadbury eggs, okay? And let's see. I think I got everybody. I think I got Rosie. I got Sandra. Yeah, I got Sandra from Nipperville. So yeah, y'all are a little bit slow to comment tonight. Maybe I have scared you to death, but that is okay. Okay, so next week we will go back to having a good egg award. I really just feel like we need to go ahead and start talking about this topic just to make sure enough of you had questions this week that I'm afraid if I don't get to the rest of this that we will not be able to finish in time tonight. But if we do, hey, great. That just means y'all understood what I was trying to say. So this week's topic, the topic from last week from Weight Watchers was say yes to de-stress. Did you know that knowing the facts, knowing all the actual facts, not what you heard, not the rumors that you heard, not what you saw on Facebook, especially not what you saw on TikTok or something like that, knowing the facts about a situation can make situations feel more predictable and controllable, which can be helpful in reducing anxiety. So having all of the actual facts, not innuendo, not rumors, not what somebody wanted to gossip about, but having all of the facts actually can make a situation feel more predictable and controllable, which can be helpful in reducing anxiety. So I grabbed this from the World Health Organization. They gave us 6 tips for reducing stress. One was to keep a daily routine. One was to get plenty of sleep. We have been talking about that a lot lately. One is to connect with others. That's what we're doing here. Another one is to eat healthy. Also what we're doing here. Exercise regularly. I can tell you I don't like getting up at 4:30 in the morning, but exercising regularly, going out to work out, has been really, really good. It has been a great de-stressor. It doesn't feel less stressful at 4:30 in the morning, but it does when my activity thing goes off at 6:15. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And to learn more about stress management. So hopefully we will be doing a couple of those things while we're here together this week. Did you know that there is a difference between acute stress and chronic stress? So I don't know if you've heard stress described that way, but acute stress it's a temporary reaction to a specific situation. So like if you had a flat tire, so let's say you're headed to work, you're getting the kids ready, blah blah blah, whatever's going on, and you get out and wah, wah, you have a flat tire. Well, that is a temporary reaction that's stressful. It's stressful because do you have a spare tire? How are the kids going to get to school? Or how are you going to get to work? Or what's going to happen in this moment? So that is a temporary reaction to a specific situation. So that is called acute stress because it's in the moment, it's right then. Chronic stress, on the other hand, is something, it stems from an ongoing issue. So let's say that you did something naughty and you didn't just have a flat tire, you had your driver's license revoked. So having your driver's license revoked would be a long-term chronic stressor, because then you can't drive the kids to school. You can't get yourself to work. Doesn't matter if you have a flat tire because you don't have a driver's license. So does that make sense? So acute is temporary and in the moment, like a flat tire. It's still stressful, but as soon as it's over, boom, boom, you can get back on with life and it's over and done. Chronic is something it's an ongoing stressor. So a lot of us think of chronic stresses more things like, not very many of us have had our driver's license revoked. Since I used the flat tire, I used that analogy, but would think more things like taking care of an ailing parent. That's a chronic stressor because it's going to last for a long time, or a job that you don't like that's every single day. So that would be more of a chronic stressor. Okay, do not think that it escaped me this week that we were talking about stress in the very week. So the very week that we were talking about stress is the same week that the press released news of Weight Watchers International's intent to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So we're going to be cutting this first part of our chat a little bit short so that we can chat all about it in the extra credit, okay, which is coming up very soon. But first, we're going to chat a little bit more about that graphic from the World Health Organization that says keeping daily routines and connecting with others are 2 ways to avoid chronic stress. So not acute stress, because when that announcement was made, there was a lot of acute stress that day. But we're going to use, from the World Health Organization, we're going to use keeping our daily routines. So doing the same things that we do every single day, not changing that, and connecting with others. We're going to use that as 2 ways to avoid this chronic stress of getting that news. I still want you all to do, for somebody to do a STAR goal for this week, and maybe it's about, a way to keep this from becoming a chronic source of stress. Remember, a STAR goal is something that is specific, like you're going to know whether you've done it or not. Whether you've done it, if you can check it off within the next 7 days, you'll know if you did it. Truly doable. It's truly doable in a week's time. It's actionable, meaning that you are going to do it and not something that you're not going to do. And it is relevant to your journey. Okay, and I'm getting a little worried that that's it. That's it for the comments. Are you all just like freaking out because you didn't know the news, or we're just not getting many comments? Okay, so this is technically going to be the break in between the first half of the chat and the whole rest of the chat, since I'm going to spend the entire rest of the time talking about this news that came out this week. So everybody stop real quick. I know it's only been 13 minutes, but everybody stop real quick. Get you a drink of water, because I'm going to be talking a lot. And I'm also not going to be putting on my apron because tonight's chat is just us chatting. Okay, so I need you all to chat. I need you all to talk a little bit because there's no chatter on here. And I don't know if it's because you all are paying attention or you're freaking out, or if there's something wrong with comments. But yeah, I would love to get just a couple more comments so that I know that you all are at least there and you're awake. Okay, so I am dedicating the entire rest of tonight's chat to the announcement that Weight Watchers International has proposed to start preparations to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So they haven't done it yet. It hasn't happened yet. They haven't filed yet. But there was an announcement that came out on April the 9th from credible news sources like the Wall Street Journal, USA Today. There are some news sources that I don't consider to be credible, but those are pretty darn credible. So they released information that Weight Watchers was preparing, that they were proposing to prepare for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. And by 9 a.m. that same day, I'm not sure what time that news came out. I guess at midnight. I don't know what time they post those. But by 9 a.m. that same day, I started receiving messages, like messenger messages, text messages, group posts, messages, direct messages to the Facebook group and to the Facebook page by people asking what was going on and if we should go ahead and start looking for another plan or another tracking system. Okay. that was a little fast. So they haven't even filed it yet. Like, it's just an announcement that they are planning to file. And again, we're going to get more into this. And if you all don't really care about it, if you don't care that any of this is going on, you know, you can just mute me now. You can go on and watch TV. You can go do something else. You can go ahead and start filling up Easter baskets. But for the rest of you that are interested, I'm going to try and explain a little bit about what's going on so that we can reduce some of that stress, so that we can make this just an acute stress situation. You know, we got the news, it happened. Whew, there was a little bit of acute stress, but we're not going to let this turn into a chronic stress situation. Okay, I am developing a chronic stress situation right now, though, because there are no more comments. So I'm wondering what is going on. Let's see if I can even comment. Let's see if I can comment. Are you all there? Okay, so I did pop in quickly that same afternoon. So on, let's see, what day was that? April the 9th. I popped in that afternoon and just asked everyone to breathe. I said, just breathe, okay? And y'all have heard me say that so many times. Every time Weight Watchers has a change, an update, we move from a paper format to a digital format, 0 point foods are changed around, you know, whatever. I always say, just breathe, just breathe. It's okay. Sometimes change is good. I also want to say, before we get too deep into this, that I do not work for Weight Watchers. I am not a Weight Watchers employee. I am not paid in any way, shape, or form by Weight Watchers. So these are just my opinions, okay? And this is my novice explanation of what is going on, but I do not have any insider information. So just want to say that too. Okay, so I did pop in quickly on April the 9th to ask everybody to breathe and to tell you all that we would be, that just to wait for our chance to chat about it tonight. And so here's our chance. So we're going to jump in. Okay. The first thing, so number one, the first thing that I want you all to remember is that Weight Watchers is a business. I say this a lot. We talk about that a lot, but Weight Watchers is a business. It was, okay, and for some reason the messages are coming up in Messenger instead of, Weight Watchers is so weird. It's so weird. On a night that I want you all to be able to ask me questions and that I want you all to be able to interact, Facebook has decided that it's going to put your comments in Messenger. That is so silly, but it's okay. It is okay. See, this is an acute stressor. Not being able to see your messages is just an acute stressor, but it's okay. We're going to move on. So again, the first thing I want you to remember is that Weight Watchers is a business. Yes, it was a group of women that were that started in Jean Nidish's basement, and she had a group of women that got together that were interested in supporting each other and losing weight and on a, you know, this weight loss journey. But it very quickly turned into a business. This is a business. We've gone over this several times in the past. It doesn't make hurt feelings about meetings being shut down, about favorite leaders being let go, losing their positions, or business decisions that you don't feel are in your best interest. It doesn't make it any less hurtful, okay? Just because it's a business, it does not make that any less hurtful or stressful. Refer back to chronic stress in the first part of the chat. Feelings aside, though, Weight Watchers International is a publicly traded company with a board of directors and with shareholders who expect to see a return on their investment. So if you do well, so what that means is you can buy Weight Watchers stock. Probably wouldn't buy it right now, but I don't know, might be a great idea right now. But it is a publicly traded company, which means that you can buy Weight Watchers stock, or people have purchased Weight Watchers stock. Those are called shareholders, and the shareholders do expect to see a return on their investment. But if we do well, so if we're doing well on whatever the current program is, and people see that we're doing well, and more people join Weight Watchers, and more people are spending money with Weight Watchers, and more money, and I know it's all about the money, and I'm sorry, but that's how life is. Then those shareholders say, great, well, let's keep putting stuff into Weight Watchers. Let's keep going. And the board of directors gets congratulated, and they keep adding on to that. So it is a publicly traded company. It does have a board of directors. It does have shareholders who expect to see that return on their investment. But it is ultimately in their best interest to have your best interest at heart. If you're losing weight and more people join Weight Watchers, or if you're feeling good, or if you're feeling good about the program, you're doing better, they're doing better, the company does better, the shareholders do better. Does that make sense? And since I can't see any comments, I don't know if that makes sense or not. Before you panic though, so news about, and especially since I can talk to you, but you can't talk to me apparently right now. Before you panic though and jump ship onto another program. So those were the first comments that I got. April the 9th, news came out. I got the news at the same time, and I thought, oh Lord, here we go. Here we go. I thought, even though I am not, even though I don't work for Weight Watchers, and even though I have nothing to do with Weight Watchers stock, I don't own any Weight Watchers stock, I'm just a Weight Watchers member, but I have been a faithful Weight Watchers member for, let's see, Casey's 30, so about almost 30 years now. So since I have been a faithful Weight Watchers member for 3 decades now, I thought, here we go. Here we go. We're going to start getting all the, oh my gosh, panic, panic, panic. We better leave. We better switch to something else. We better, coach is putting in a new quarterback, so we better pack up and leave the game. I knew that I was going to start getting some of those messages, and it's understandable because if you've never been in this situation before, if you've never been in a business situation like this before, how would you know? How would you know what is going on? So I got so many questions about jumping ship, and I'm going to call it that, jumping ship, leaving the game at halftime, with other ways to track, other ways to record macros, other ways to record calories. Of course, no one else has a point system like Weight Watchers does. But the first thing I want to say is, it's funny, we all complain, like all of us, me included, all complain about tracking. Why do I have to track? Why do I have to write everything down? I want to do such and such a system because you don't have to track anything. Every single one of the other programs that people mentioned when they got nervous about this, every single one of them was something where you have to track. You're looking up something, you're looking up calories or macros or some other bits of information, and it's all still tracking. Okay. The one that was thrown out the most often was healthy. So I'm just going to talk about healthy only as an example, mind you, just as an example. I'm not jumping on healthy. I'm not picking on them. That one was just the most asked about. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about other weight loss programs just to kind of put this in perspective. Okay. So Healthy is a Series A company that is based in Bangalore, India. Okay, it's not based in the United States, it's based in India. It was founded in 2014 by a couple of guys whose names I wouldn't even pretend to be able to pronounce. And it operates as a provider of an employee. So it started as an employee health benefits management program. And it has raised $3.1 million in funding from something called Montaigne Ventures, which is it's like a venture capitalist company. So what is a Series A company, and why do I care, Kelly? Okay, I knew you'd ask me that question, even though I can't see your comments. So a Series A company is a startup that they have successfully completed this initial seed funding, which means they've asked a bunch of people, or they've done a GoFundMe or a startup, one of those, maybe not. But they have successfully completed the initial seed funding that they needed, and now they are seeking their first major round of institutional investment. So they have not gone public yet. They're not a publicly traded company, but it's typically venture capitalists, so other people who are just making big investments into the business. And being at the stage that they're at signifies that the company has found a product market fit. So they have a product. You are the market, or we are the market, okay? So we're the consumer, they're the business, and they have found, hey, people would like another way to be able to lose weight or to keep up with it or whatever. So they have a product, we're the consumer, and they have proven that there's a potential for a good fit there. And they're ready to scale their operations by expanding team members, expanding the business, finding more people to invest, product development, things like that, and increasing their marketing efforts. So in other words, to break it down simply, it's a business. It's another business. So this is not Healthy or any of these other programs like that, and I'm not picking on Healthy, that's just the one that I was asked about the most often. It's not a warm group of long-term supportive cheerleaders like we have here, who have been with each other through thick and thin. We've been with each other through program changes. We've been with each other through paper, digital, computers gone, have to use your phone, whatever. We've been all different program changes. We've been with each other long term through all of that. This is a bunch of crusty old men. Okay, it might be young men, I don't know, but I'm going to pretend in my head like they're crusty old men that are stuffy, sitting around a boardroom, smoking cigars, and who saw a business opportunity, which was a group of people who wanted to lose weight, and they were like, I got a product for that. And they got some investors to back them. They probably went on Shark Tank India, I don't know, and now have a health company. Okay, now they have a, oh, we love you and we're looking out for your best interest health company. Okay, they don't have what we have. So I don't know about you, but I am writing out this Weight Watchers thing. After I start looking at some of these other companies, I wasn't getting off of the Weight Watchers team anyway, but once I started looking into some of these other companies, I was like, it's still just another business, but it's a business that doesn't have this. And man, I wish I could see what you all were saying. Okay, let's stop and take a sip real quick, because now we are at about the 30-minute mark. Okay, and if anybody knows how to fix this so that I can see comments, let's see, Lynn. So Lynn messaged Casey to let her know that you all can, in fact, see and hear me just fine. Oops, and I accidentally messed with my, there we go, with my brightness. So thank you. I have no idea why I can't see comments, but if you all want to keep commenting, do. And I'm sorry that I can't see them live, and I promise that I will go back. You can send messages. You can message the group. You can message If You Have an Egg. You can message me, and it really stinks that I can't see your comments live. Thanks, Facebook. Not helpful. Okay, so enough about Healthy. Number 2, Chapter 11 bankruptcy isn't necessarily a bad thing. Okay, in 2011, my dad was offered the opportunity to file Chapter 11 in order to right size. And I know I'm doing a lot of air quotes tonight, but since I can't see your all's comments live, I won't know if you're complaining about the air quotes, so I'm going to keep doing them. But he was offered an opportunity to file for Chapter 11 to right size his more than 30-year-old business that had taken a huge hit when the market had crashed. And when I say a huge hit, I mean a huge hit. He had one product line that went from $4.5 million in sales a month to 0. That's a huge hit. That's the size hit or bigger hit that Weight Watchers took during COVID, during Oprah, during trying to figure out what they were going to do with the GLP medication, that whole scene, you know. So my dad was offered that opportunity. He said absolutely not. He dug in his heels. His ego went boom, and he said, nope, people will think something's wrong. People will think we're going out of business. Chapter 11 is not the thing for us to do. You know, we're literally just going to dig in our heels, and we're going to make this work, okay? He did not like change, and I know a lot of you all don't like change, but he didn't like it at all, and he certainly did not like the thought of someone else telling him how to get this situation back on track. This unexplored territory for us up until this point, how to get this back on track. I wasn't old enough or experienced enough at the time to realize that this was our opportunity to let somebody else help us, okay? While we decided what we were going to do long term, we could have had some help. We could have had some protection. Long story short, he lost his business. He lost his house. He lost his boat. He lost my house, and we all lost our jobs. That is not a pity. That's not a pity story. That's to let you know, Chapter 11, wrong or right, whether you agree with it or not, I do admire the decision of the Weight Watchers, the powers that be, for seeing this, for seeing that this has gotten out of control. So they, Weight Watchers had to go from, again, a group of women sitting in Jean's basement and deciding what to eat, how they were going to eat, how they were going to lose weight, how they were going to lose weight, and how they were going to keep it off. And it has gone through so many generational changes and has had to keep up with the times. And I know all of us who have ever experienced an in-person meeting would have loved it if they could have just left those alone. But COVID finished, killing off a lot of those. Not being in a franchise area also killed off some of those in-person meetings. COVID did no favors for Weight Watchers other than assisting with some technology, with some Zoom things, with some digitally led products, some of those kind of things, and for getting some people that are not the old crusty men sitting around in the boardrooms, smoking cigars and making decisions for us. It did help with those kinds of things, but a lot of us are still bitter about losing meetings and losing these group things. And Oprah didn't do a lot to help that. Sorry, Oprah. I just had to throw you in there because I'm not a big fan. But Chapter 11 is a way to take this kind of thing, this kind of entity, whatever this is, kind of spiraled out of control in the last few years since 2020, and help them kind of get it back under control. So this is help. The kind of help that they need right now is just digging in your heels and working hard is not going to bring this kind of help. Okay, so I know y'all are thinking, if you just came on, you're thinking, why can't I talk to her? Why are my comments not working? I don't know. I don't know why they're not working. And you're probably thinking, why are we talking about Chapter 11? So this is just to kind of give you an explanation to help alleviate some of this stress. So on April the 9th, an announcement was made by USA Today, Wall Street Journal, some other news agencies that Weight Watchers International is proposing to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That was an acute stressor. So the topic for last week was finding a way to de-stress, like to kind of de-stress. Happened the week before this announcement was made. And mind you, Weight Watchers themselves hasn't made this announcement. There are no press releases from Weight Watchers. They have not answered. Reuters tried to get a hold of them to confirm this, and they have not responded to them yet. But I feel like these news sources are credible enough that that this probably is true. But anyway, so if you've just jumped in, this is not our normal chat. We are having it during the time of our normal chat, but it's just us girls and probably a couple of guys. I don't know. I can't see because it's not telling me who's on there. But we're just chit-chatting about what is going on and why we're not leaving the game at halftime because the quarterback got changed. Okay. And those of you who are from East Tennessee know that I am also a little bit bitter about Nico deciding to not show up for practice right before the orange and white game. So I'm kind of stuck on the quarterback thing right now. Yeah, but I'm not leaving the game at halftime just because Nico decided to. Okay, that's an inside joke for people who live around here or watch UT football. Okay, so I'm going to keep boring you with some more statistics, but I promise I am coming to a point. I promise I am coming to a point because I'm trying to take this acute stressor of the news from April the 9th. Excuse me, now I had the hiccups from talking so fast, and let it not become a chronic stressor. Okay, we don't need to let this consume our every waking moment. It's just a little blip on the radar right now. So what is Chapter 11 in the simplest terms? Because y'all don't need all the ins and outs of this, and I don't want to bore you with all of this, but Chapter 11 is just this. When a publicly traded company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, what it's doing is seeking court protection so that it has an opportunity to reorganize with their creditors. So they're just saying, hey, government, we need you to court system, we need you to kind of step in here and help us because we see things have spiraled out of control. We see that we are not doing a good job of handling our debts, of paying our creditors. This is just, it's just getting out of control. And so we need some assistance on being able to get this back under control and most of the time get their company to, and I'm going to keep using the air quotes with the right size. I actually had this discussion with another business here in Knoxville last week, and we were talking about the fact that both of us, we're about the same age. I'm 57, he's probably late 50s, that both of us had a little bit bigger companies up until 2020, and we both decided to right size our companies and make them just a little bit smaller. And life has been so much happier since we have right-sized our companies. But this is an opportunity for them because they don't have a person. You know, it's just me and John in our company. We get to make all the decisions. Not so with a publicly traded company. So they're going to be asking the court if this all actually happens. And again, I don't work at Weight Watchers. I don't work for Weight Watchers. They do not pay me. At this point, this is just news that was released from the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Reuters, you know, some other news sources. But Weight Watchers has not made an official statement yet. But it's when a publicly traded company seeks court protection so that they have an opportunity to reorganize their business and the debt while they remain operational. So I think what everybody heard on April the 9th, when the panic started, was filing bankruptcy. So Chapter 7 is completely different. That's completely different. You're just shutting down. You're shutting the doors. Chapter 11 gives you court protection so that you have an opportunity to continue your business, so you can keep going. So as soon as I heard it was Chapter 11, I was like, well, about dang time, because this has gotten out of control. It's out of control. And if Casey's listening, she knows when I'm out of control. It's out of control. Woo! She knows what I'm talking about. Okay. So they get a chance to reorganize their business, do something about their debt, while remaining operational. The process oftentimes involves restructuring those debts, negotiating with their creditors, so, you know, talking to the people that they owe money to, developing a reorganizational plan. They will have to do that with the court system. And while the company can continue to operate under court supervision, major decisions, so any major decisions like buying a company like, what was it called that they bought? I know what it's called. Oh man, and y'all are probably telling me right now, and I can't even see it, that whole platform that they bought. Oh my gosh, that's left my mind. But anyway, so major decisions like that, major decisions like hiring somebody like Oprah, major decisions like that would have to come from approval, you know, from the court. So the court would have to help them with things like that. So during that process, the company is in a protected state. So things aren't going to happen fast. It's not going to go, whoop, you know, if they are granted Chapter 11 status. But the process can take anywhere from a year to up to 5 years, depending on how complex the company is. I would say that Weight Watchers is complex enough that could probably take upwards of 5 years. So that means nothing's happening today. So they still have to announce that they're doing it, because they have to announce this to their creditors. They have to apply for it. There's a process for applying for it. You don't just, you know, sit down and write a letter and say, hey, I'm filing for Chapter 11, you know, whatever, and it just starts. It's a whole process. So it could take up to 5 years. What does that change for today? Squat. It changes nothing for today. That's why we're here talking about this tonight. And I wish we were talking about it. I wish that the comments were working. So if you're watching this tonight, or if you're watching this later on Facebook, and remember, you can only watch this on Facebook for the next 90 days, and then you'll need to watch it on YouTube, and that's just youtube.com, search If You Have an Egg. You can make comments, you can send messages. I will answer them the best that I can and as quickly as I can. You are more than welcome to email ifyouhaveanegg@gmail.com. You're more than welcome to go to the If You Have an Egg, www.ifyouhaveanegg.com website, and ask questions, and I'll answer them the best that I can. And I really hate that I cannot see your questions live here tonight. That's really bugging me. So, okay. So since this can take up to 5 years, I was really hoping to get to field some questions tonight. Man, this is driving me crazy. Why? And I can't even tell if you all are trying to comment. So, I don't know. I was hoping that me saying something, let's see. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can make it to see if I can make it give me your comments, because I was hoping to be able to answer some questions while we were talking tonight. Doesn't appear that we're going to be able to do that. So I'll answer those as quickly as I can. So when will this start? I don't know. That's a question I already had. When will this start? I don't know. Should we bail out and go to another system like Healthy? Absolutely not. Unless you were already thinking about leaving Weight Watchers and going and trying something else, and then sure, knock yourself out. If you were already thinking about it and this was just your, final tipping point, then go ahead, knock yourself out. Are there any other groups, systems, online applications, apps, computer, whatever, that provide the kind of support that Weight Watchers does? Absolutely not. There's just not any others. So you can go do something else if you want to, but you're still not going to get this kind of support. Are there any YouTube channels for Healthy? And I'm just going to keep picking on Healthy just because I got asked so many times about it. Are there any YouTube channels about Healthy? Are there any people who do chats like this about Healthy? I don't think so. There's probably some TikTok, but I don't know. Okay, so how long is it going to last? When does it start? Was the first question I got. Don't know. They haven't even started the filing yet. So we're probably a year away from actually seeing any effect. Could be as much as 5 years. Should we jump to another system? I don't know. You got to do you. You got to do whatever you want to do. I am not jumping. And I went ahead and checked out a couple of the others. Gonna keep picking on Healthy. Didn't like what I saw. Didn't like how they were funded. Didn't like what kind of the backgrounds of the businesses. So I'm sticking with good old Weight Watchers, for right now. And trust me, if I ever decide to jump ship, y'all will be the first ones to know. Next question. Got a great question today. And that was, if you are part of a Weight Watchers franchise, what's going to happen? That one, I'm not sure about. We are actually part of, so us here in Knoxville, here in Middle and East Tennessee, we are part of a Weight Watchers franchise. We are part of Weight Watchers of Middle and East Tennessee. It's a franchise-owned location. I don't know how many other franchise locations there are around the United States, but it is Weight Watchers International. So that whole company, that publicly traded company, that is who supposedly, reportedly, is going to be filing for Chapter 11, or is proposing that they should do that. But I don't know how that affects franchise locations. So franchises of a publicly held company, I don't know. I've never been involved with one of those. I've only been involved with franchises. So let's say that I decided that I wanted to franchise my countertop business, and you could be, like we are Casey Kitchen Center, and you wanted to be Casey Kitchen Center Chattanooga, or Casey Kitchen Center, I don't know, Utah, or whatever. And I set up a franchise. I think it's a completely different situation than the franchise, agreement with Weight Watchers. That's the only thing I'm actually a little concerned about. If they do file for Chapter 11, I don't know if the franchise locations are going to be considered one of these creditors that gets, that the court is going to manage. I'll keep you posted on that one. That one's the only one that does concern me just a little bit. So I will definitely keep an eye on this franchise situation. I will also keep you posted on any news that I hear, any news releases that I hear. Y'all keep me posted in case you see something before I do. So we're going to keep each other up to date on all that. We're not going to stop doing this, even though this coming Sunday, we're not going to have a live chat because it's Easter Sunday. Okay, that's all about Easter and nothing to do with Weight Watchers potentially filing for Chapter 11. I do want to say there are other people who are going to try and cause panic, and I don't think they're intentionally trying to cause panic, but I've already seen, I had to stop comments on one of the legitimate questions that was on in the If You Have an Egg Facebook group. I had to stop the comments, stop letting people comment on it, because we had people who had never commented on anything, not even one time, not told anybody nice job, not said they liked a picture, not loved anything that the girls post that is so uplifting and whatever. These people had never posted ever all of a sudden jumping on the, yeah, it's going down the tubes and thanks a lot, Oprah, and blah, blah, blah. They just jumped on this bandwagon of negativity that I'm not, homie, don't play that. So we're not going to play that game. There are other people, I would just say be cautious, because there are other people who would have you jump onto that negativity bandwagon, and there's no reason for panic. We're gonna go back to the first part of this chat when we were talking about tips to reduce stress. The World Health Organization says one of the tips to reduce stress is to keep your daily routines. Why would we stop doing this? Why would we stop tracking? Why would we stop exercising? Why would we stop those daily routines? Checking in with each other, keeping up with what we ate, checking points on things, scanning where we can, adding it in, reusing the same breakfast that we used from the morning before. Why would we stop doing that and cause ourselves chronic stress, long-term stress over this singular event in time that, yes, was an acute stressor on April the 9th, April the 10th, and I may be stressing you out right now even talking about it, especially if you didn't even know it was happening or potentially happening. But yeah, keeping daily routines. And then the next thing was connecting with others. You're not going to get this anywhere else. So I would just remind you of that. Please do comment. I know I can't see them right now, but please do comment. Please leave comments. After this is posted, you surely to goodness can go in and comment, ask your questions that you were thinking about asking, but Facebook for some reason is not letting you ask. So ask them here in the Facebook page. After I post this chat, ask them over, and if you have an egg, ask them, send me a messenger message. Again, you can email ifyouhaveanegg@gmail.com. You can go to www.ifyouhaveanegg.com. Or you can comment on YouTube. But last but not least, I want to say, don't leave the game at halftime, okay? Coach is putting in a new quarterback. It's okay. You don't need to leave the game. Your app hasn't changed. Your ability to keep your daily routine. See, when Casey posts this, see that graphic. So the graphic that from the World Health Organization that says keep your daily routines. Keep your daily routines. See stress management, okay? It has not changed. That has not changed. Do your breathing. If you didn't get to see one of the box breathing techniques last week during a Weight Watchers meeting, just look up box breathing. And I actually saw it on, what was I watching? Something, and a guy was stressed out and he goes, oh, I need to do my box breathing. And I thought, well, we just found out about that. That is perfect. So do your breathing. Do your box breathing, do your whatever kind of breathing you do, and just calm yourself. Let this be an acute stressor, just a blip on your radar and not become a chronic stressor. If you were planning on getting away from Weight Watchers before, and this just seals the deal, if this just pushes you on over, then just do it, okay? Don't need to hear any negativity. Don't need to hear any back talk about it. Just do it. If that's where you were headed, then just do it. But for the rest of us, the coach is just looking at another quarterback. Okay, he hasn't stopped playing football. It's a simple exchange. The football game is not over. We're still in this game. Okay, so let's stay in the whole game together. Okay. Since I cannot see your comments, even if you're commenting, I hope this was not too boring. I hope I gave you just enough information about Chapter 11 and what potentially could be going on. I'm not a Weight Watchers employee. Don't get paid by them. But I hope that was enough to keep you calm, breathing for, however long this takes to find out what's going on. As I get more information, I will let you know. We will not be here next Sunday night because that is Easter Sunday, but we will be back the following Sunday. And the following Sunday, so 2 weeks from tonight, I'll be making what I was planning on making for tonight. So, Sarah, if you're out there somewhere, we will be cooking in 2 weeks. Everybody else, if you're watching this on YouTube, that's just youtube.com. Search If You Have an Egg. Let that next video roll over. I promise I don't just sit and give you like hordes of information in that next video. Go ahead and click subscribe. if you're planning on hanging out during the rest of this game with us. So go ahead and click subscribe and then click that little bell so that you will know when the next video is posted. And for the rest of you all, I'm so sorry I couldn't see your questions live. I would have loved to have answered them, but feel free to ask them and I will answer as best as I can and as soon as I can. So y'all have a great week, and I will see you not this coming week, but the following week. And have a happy Easter, everybody. Yep. Good night. Have a great week.